Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and looked at the stars. The UES Defiant was not a big ship. It was built for exploring space and finding new worlds. Jake had been a space captain for 10 years. He loved his job and his crew of 43 people. "Captain, we are getting close to the gas giant," said his navigator, Linda Hayes. She was a young woman with bright eyes who always did her job well. Jake trusted her with his life. "Good. Take us closer, but keep our distance. We need to scan for mineral deposits," Jake said. He walked to the science station where Dr. Carl Banks was working. Carl was the ship's science officer and knew more about space than anyone Jake had ever met. "What do you see, Carl?" Jake asked. "The planet has 3 moons. 2 of them show signs of rare metals. We could set up mining operations here in a few months," Carl said. His fingers moved quickly over his computer screen. Jake smiled. This was exactly what Earth needed. The human colonies were growing fast and needed more resources. Finding new worlds with useful materials was always good news. "Captain," Linda's voice was sharp with worry, "I'm seeing something on the sensors. Big ships, 12 of them." Jake rushed to Linda's station. On the screen, he could see 12 massive ships moving toward them. The ships were bigger than anything humans had ever built. They were dark and covered with weapon systems. "Are they human ships?" Jake asked, but he already knew the answer. "No, sir. The design is completely different." "I've never seen anything like them," Linda said. Her hands shook as she worked the controls. Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was first contact with an alien species. Every human had dreamed of this moment. But these ships looked like they were built for war, not peace. "Open a communication channel," Jake ordered. "All frequencies." His communication officer, Pete Johnson, worked quickly. "Channel open, Captain." Jake took a deep breath. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the human exploration ship UEC Defiant. We come in peace. We mean no harm to you or your people." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then a deep, angry voice came through the speakers. The words were in a language Jake had never heard, but somehow he could understand them. "Human vessel, you will surrender immediately. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your destruction." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew stared back at him with fear in their eyes. These aliens were not interested in peaceful contact. "Unknown vessels, we are explorers, not soldiers. We have no weapons that could harm you. Please, let us talk," Jake said. The alien voice came again, louder and more angry. "You have 10 seconds to comply. Surrender or die." Jake made a quick decision. "Linda, get us out of here. Maximum speed." "I'm trying, Captain, but they're jamming our engines," Linda said. Sweat ran down her face as she worked. The alien ships moved closer. They were so big that they blocked out the stars. Jake could see weapon ports opening along their hulls. "All crew, this is the captain. Brace for impact," Jake announced over the ship's speakers. The first blast hit the UE's Defiant like a hammer. The ship shook and lights flickered. Jake grabbed his chair to stay standing. "Shields down to 60%, Pete reported. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them what happened here. Tell them these aliens attack without warning," Jake ordered. Pete's fingers flew over his controls. "Message sent, Captain." Another blast hit the ship. This time, the lights went out for several seconds. When they came back on, smoke filled the bridge. "Shields failing," Linda said. "We can't take much more of this." Jake knew his ship was going to be destroyed, but maybe his message would reach Earth. Maybe it would save other human lives. "Captain, I'm getting a response from Earth," Pete said. Admiral Lisa Carter wants to know our status. Tell her. Jake started to say, but another blast cut him off. This time, the ship's hull began to crack. Jake looked at his crew one last time. They were good people who did not deserve to die. Tell Earth that we tried to make peace. Tell them these aliens don't want to talk. They only want to fight. The final blast tore the UE Science apart. Jake Morrison and his crew of 43 brave explorers died in the cold darkness of space. Their only crime was trying to make friends with a species that saw them as enemies far away on Earth. Admiral Lisa Carter received Pete Johnson's last message. She read the words and felt anger burn in her chest. The first meeting between humans and aliens had ended in murder. Admiral Lisa Carter sat in her office on Earth and read the message again. Her hands shook with anger as she looked at the words on her screen. 43 good people were dead because aliens had attacked without warning. Lisa was 50 years old and had spent her whole life in the space Navy. She had fought pirates and helped rescue people from disasters, but she had never fought aliens before. Now she wished she had more experience with war. "Ma'am, President Dan Walsh wants to see you right away," said her assistant, Kelly Brooks. Kelly was young but smart. She helped Lisa with all the paperwork that came with being an admiral. "Tell him I'll be there in 5 minutes," Lisa said. She stood up and put on her best uniform. This was going to be the most important meeting of her life. The president's office was full of important people. Dan Walsh sat behind his big desk with worry on his face. He was a good man who always tried to avoid war. But sometimes war came, whether you wanted it or not. "Admiral Carter, tell me what happened," President Walsh said. Lisa stood straight and spoke clearly. "The UE Sustained was destroyed by 12 alien warships. Captain Morrison tried to communicate peacefully, but the aliens demanded surrender. When he refused, they killed everyone on board." The room was quiet for a moment. Then Secretary of Defense Nancy Green spoke up. "What do we know about these aliens?" "Very little," Lisa admitted. "The message called them the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. They have big ships with powerful weapons. They don't seem interested in talking." President Walsh rubbed his forehead. "How long before our nearest fleet can reach that area?" 3 weeks, sir. Maybe 4, Lisa said. "That's too long." "These aliens could attack our colonies before we get there," the president said. Meanwhile, far from Earth, Admiral Kethvor stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His people, the Zephyrians, had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They believed that only the strong deserved to live. "The human ship has been destroyed," reported his weapons officer, Commander Vextal. "We found no survivors." "Good," Kethvor said. "What did we learn about these humans? Their technology is primitive. Their weapons are weak. Their ships are small. They should be easy to conquer," Vextal said. Kethvor smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Excellent. Send scouts to track where that ship came from. We will find their home world and take everything they have." The Zephyrian fleet moved through space like hungry wolves. They had conquered dozens of worlds and enslaved millions of beings. The humans would just be another victory for the Empire. On a research station called Horizon Base, Dr. Amy Foster was having the worst day of her life. She was a scientist who studied alien life forms, but she had never seen aliens that wanted to kill her. Amy hid in a supply closet and watched her computer screen. The Zephyrian ships had found her station and were scanning it with their sensors. She could see their ships on her screen, big, dark, and scary. "Computer, record everything," Amy whispered. "If I die, someone needs to know what these aliens are like." The computer began recording as Amy watched the alien ships. She saw them destroy unmanned satellites just for fun. They blew up mining stations that had no people on them. These aliens enjoyed destroying things. The Zephyrians seem to be a military society, Amy said to her computer. They show no interest in communication or peaceful contact. They destroy. First and ask questions never. Amy heard footsteps in the hallway outside her hiding place. The aliens had boarded her station. She held her breath and tried not to make any sound. Through the door, she could hear strange voices speaking in the alien language. The translation software on her computer was working hard to understand what they were saying. Search every room. Kill any humans you find. Take their computers and data files, said one alien voice. Yes, Commander. Should we try to capture any of them alive? Said another voice. No. Dead humans cause no problems. Live humans might escape and warn others, the first voice said. Amy felt cold fear run through her body. These aliens were not just enemies. They were murderers who enjoyed killing. She started to pray that her friends on other stations would get away safely. For 6 hours, Amy hid in the closet while the aliens searched her station. She recorded everything she could see and hear. When the aliens finally left, she was alone. With the bodies of her 12 coworkers, Amy sent her recordings to Earth Command and then escaped in a small ship. Her message reached Admiral Lisa Carter just as the President was asking for more information about the aliens. These beings are not just hostile, Amy's message said. They are completely evil. They have no mercy and show no interest in peaceful contact. They must be stopped before they find Earth. Admiral Lisa Carter read Amy's report and felt sick. The aliens were hunting for Earth, and the human fleet was still weeks away from stopping them. Mr. President, Lisa said, we need to prepare for war. These aliens will not stop until they find and destroy every human in the galaxy. President Walsh nodded sadly. Do whatever you need to do, Admiral. Protect our people. Lisa left the meeting, knowing that humanity was about to face its greatest challenge. The Zephyrians were coming, and they wanted to kill everyone. 3 days had passed since the U.E. Sephiant was destroyed. Admiral Kethver stood on his bridge and watched his scouts search for the human home world. His fleet was moving slowly through space, following the trail left by the destroyed human. Ship, Admiral, we have destroyed 6 more human stations, reported Commander Vextel. Each one had only a few humans. They run away when they see us coming. Cowards, Kethver said with disgust. Soon we will find their main world and show them what real power looks like. The Zephyrian fleet was spread out across the star system, hunting for clues about where humans came from. They had found mining stations, research bases, and communication relays. But they had not yet found any big human settlements. Suddenly, the sensors on Kethvar's ship began making loud warning sounds. The bridge crew looked at their screens with confusion. Admiral, there's something strange happening, said the sensor officer, Lieutenant Korth. A human ship just appeared out of nowhere. What do you mean appeared? Kethvar demanded. Sir, our sensors show nothing. Then suddenly there's a ship. It's like it came out of empty space, Korth said, his voice shaking. Kethvar looked at the main screen. There, floating in space between his fleet and their destination, was a single human ship. But this ship was different from the small vessel they had destroyed 3 days ago. Analysis, Kethvar ordered. The ship is much larger than the previous human vessel, Korth reported. It appears to be a warship, not an exploration craft. But, sir, the design doesn't match any human ship in our database. Kethvar studied the image on his screen. The human ship was dark gray, with strange markings on its hull. It looked like it had been in many battles. There were scorch marks and dents all over its surface. What is its name? Kethvar asked. U.E.'s Retribution, sir. Korth said. Commander Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the U.E.S. Retribution and looked at the enemy fleet. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars on his face. His eyes were cold and hard, like someone who had seen too. Much war. 12 ships, said his weapons officer, Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez. Same class as the ones that attacked the Defiant. I know, Turner said quietly. I've fought these ships before. Ben looked confused. Sir, this is first contact with the Zephyrians. How could you have fought them before? Turner didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the communication station where Sergeant Lisa Park was working. Lisa was young but experienced. She had been with Turner's crew for 3 years, though she still didn't understand where they had come from. Open a channel. To the lead enemy ship, Turner ordered. Channel open, Commander, Lisa said. Turner's voice was calm and steady. Zephyrian vessel, this is Commander Alex Turner of the UES Retribution. You attacked and destroyed a peaceful human ship. You murdered 43 innocent people. Surrender now or face the consequences. On the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Kethvar laughed. Did this human just demand that we surrender? 1 ship against 12? Sir, should we respond? Asked the communication officer. Yes. Tell this fool that he is about to join his friends in death, Kethvar said. The alien voice came through the speakers on the Retribution's bridge. Human commander, you are either very brave or very stupid. Lower your weapons and surrender. We might let some of your crew live as slaves. Commander Turner smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. I gave you a chance. You chose death. On the Retribution's bridge, every crew member moved to their battle stations. There were only 12 people on the entire ship, but they worked together like they had been fighting as a team for years. Engineering report, Turner said. All systems ready, Commander, came the voice of Chief Engineer Katie Price. Reactor. Output at 100%. All weapons charged and ready. Navigation. Plot attack course, Turner ordered. Course plotted, sir, said Navigator Sam Wells. We can hit their lead ship first, then move to the flankers. Admiral Kethvar watched the human ship with amusement. Look at them. They think one small ship can fight our entire fleet. This will be over in minutes. Admiral, the human ship is moving, reported Lieutenant Korth. They're coming straight at us. All ships, attack formation, Kethvar ordered. Destroy that ship quickly. I want to get back to hunting for their home world. The 12 Zephyrian ships moved into a battle. Formation they had used to conquer dozens of worlds. Their weapons powered up and their shields activated. They had never lost a battle, and they didn't expect to lose this one. But Commander Turner was not worried. He had fought these ships before, in another time and another place. He knew their weaknesses. He knew how to beat them. All crew, this is the commander, Turner announced over the ship's speakers. We're going to make these aliens pay for what they did to Captain Morrison and his crew. Today, we fight for every human who has died at alien hands. The crew of the Retribution had heard this speech before. They knew their commander was not like other humans. They knew their ship was not like other human ships. They didn't understand how or why, but they trusted Turner with their lives. Ben, are weapons ready? Turner asked. All weapons charged and locked on target, sir, Ben Rodriguez reported. Fire. The UES Retribution opened fire on the lead Zephyrian ship. The aliens expected to see the weak weapons they had faced before. Instead, they saw beams of energy that cut through space like swords of light. Admiral Kethvar watched in shock as his flagship's shields failed in seconds. The human weapons were impossible. They were more powerful than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. How is this possible? Kethvar screamed as his ship began to break apart. Commander Turner watched the enemy flagship die and felt no satisfaction. He had seen too much death to enjoy it anymore. But justice had to be served, and the Zephyrians had to pay for their crimes. "Target the next ship," Turner ordered. "We're just getting started." The lead Zephyrian ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. Admiral Kethver barely had time to escape to another ship before his flagship was completely destroyed. He could not believe what he had just seen. How did they do that? Kethver demanded as he reached the bridge of the second ship. "Our shields are built to stop planet-killing weapons." "Sir, the human weapons are unlike anything in our records," said Commander Vextal, who had also escaped. "The energy readings are impossible. No ship should be able to generate that much power." On the UE's Retribution, Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez watched his weapon systems with amazement. He had been a weapons officer on other human ships, but nothing like this. The power levels on his screen were beyond anything he had ever seen. "Commander, all weapons ready for second target," Ben reported. "But sir, I don't understand these readings. The energy output is 10 times higher than any human weapon." Commander Turner looked at Ben with tired eyes. "Don't worry about understanding it, Lieutenant. Just keep firing until they're all gone." In the engineering section, Chief Engineer Katie Price stared at her control screens. The reactor was producing more energy than should be possible. The ship's power systems were based on technology she had never seen before, even though she had been an engineer for 15 years. "Computer, run diagnostic on reactor systems," Katie said. "Diagnostic complete. All systems operating within normal." "Parameters," the computer responded. Katie shook her head. The computer said everything was normal, but the energy readings were impossible. The reactor was producing enough power to supply a small city, yet it was no bigger than a normal ship reactor. "Commander Turner," Katie said over the communication system, "I need to ask you something about our power systems." "Not now, Chief." Turner's voice came back. "We're in the middle of a battle." Katie understood, but she was worried. The technology on this ship was beyond anything humans had ever built. Where had it come from? How did Commander Turner know how to use it? The UES Retribution moved toward the second Zephyrian ship. Navigator Sam Wells plotted their course with perfect precision. The alien ship tried to turn away, but Sam somehow knew exactly where it would go. "Sam, how did you know they would move there?" asked Communications Officer Lisa Park. "I don't know," Sam said, looking confused. "It just felt right. Like I had seen this battle before." The Retribution's weapons fired again. The second Zephyrian ship's shields collapsed, just like the first one. The alien vessel tried to return fire, but their weapons could not penetrate the human ship's defenses. "Impossible," screamed the captain of the second Zephyrian ship. "Human shields are weak. We should be able to destroy them easily." But the UES Retribution's shields were not normal human shields. They absorbed the alien weapons like they were toys. The energy that should have destroyed the human ship simply disappeared into the strange defensive systems. Admiral Kethver watched from the third ship as his second vessel was destroyed. In less than 10 minutes, he had lost 2 of his most powerful warships. The human ship had not even been damaged. "All ships attack together," Kethver ordered. "Hit them from all sides at once." The remaining 10 Zephyrian ships surrounded the UES Retribution. They fired everything they had at the lone human vessel. The space around the ship filled with energy beams, missiles, and plasma bolts. Commander Turner stood calmly on his bridge as the enemy weapons hit his ship. The lights flickered for a moment, but that was all. His shields held without any problems. "Status report," Turner said. "Shields down to 95%, reported the shield officer, Corporal Mike Davis. "All systems normal." Turner nodded. He had expected this. The Zephyrians always tried the same tactics. They thought numbers and firepower could win any battle. They were wrong. Ben, pick your targets and fire at will, Turner ordered. Ben Rodriguez smiled as he locked on to 3 enemy ships at once. His weapon systems could track and engage multiple targets simultaneously. It was like having 12 weapons officers working together. Firing all weapons, Ben announced. The UE's Retribution's weapons fired in all directions at once. Each beam hit a different enemy ship with perfect accuracy. 3 more Zephyrian vessels exploded in quick succession. On the remaining enemy ships, panic began to spread. The alien crews had never seen anything like this. They were the masters of space warfare, but they were being defeated by a single human ship. "Admiral, we should retreat," suggested Commander Vextel. "This human ship has weapons we cannot match." "No," Cuthbert roared. "We are the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. We do not run from inferior species." But even as he spoke, Cuthbert knew they were losing. The human ship moved through space like it was dancing. It dodged their weapons and returned fire with devastating accuracy. Engineer Katie Price watched her instruments with growing amazement. The ship's power systems were operating at incredible levels, but they never got hot or showed any signs of stress. It was like the reactor was designed to handle this kind of battle. "Computer, where did this technology come from?" Katie asked. "Information. Restricted," the computer replied. "Authorization level insufficient," Katie frowned. She was the chief engineer, but the computer wouldn't tell her about her own ship's systems. There were secrets on this vessel that even the crew didn't know. Navigator Sam Wells plotted another course that somehow put them in the perfect position to attack 2 more enemy ships. He didn't understand how he knew where to go, but his instincts were always right. "Sam, it's like you can see the future," Lisa Park said. "Maybe I can," Sam said quietly. "Maybe we all can." The battle continued for another 15 minutes. One by one, the Zephyrian ships were destroyed by the mysterious human vessel. The aliens tried every tactic they knew, but nothing worked. The UE's Retribution was faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything they had ever fought. Finally, only 3 enemy ships remained. Admiral Cuthbert realized that his proud fleet was about to be completely destroyed by a single human warship. It was the most humiliating defeat in Zephyrian history. "All ships, prepare to surrender," Cuthbert said. His voice, filled with shame. Commander Turner heard the surrender message, but did not smile. He had won the battle, but the war was far from over. The Zephyrians would return with more ships and more weapons. Humanity would need to be ready. "Cease fire," Turner ordered. "Prepare to take prisoners." The remaining Zephyrian ships powered down their weapons and waited for the humans to board them. They had learned a terrible lesson about underestimating their enemies. But the biggest mystery was still unsolved. How had one human ship defeated an entire alien fleet? And where had Commander Turner gotten such incredible technology? Admiral Cuthbert stood on the bridge of his damaged ship and felt shame burn in his chest. His mighty fleet was destroyed. 9 of his 12 ships were nothing but floating wreckage. The remaining 3 ships were barely working, and his crew was scared. "Admiral, the human ship is moving toward us," reported Lieutenant Korth, his voice shaking with fear. Cuthbert looked at the main screen. The UE's Retribution was coming closer, but it was not firing. The human ship moved through space with an easy grace that made it look almost alive. "They're not attacking," Cuthbert said with surprise. "Why aren't they finishing us off?" Commander Vextal was working at a damaged control station. "Sir, maybe they want to capture us alive. Humans might be different from us." "Maybe they don't." "Kill prisoners." Cuthbert found this hard to believe. In all his years of conquest, he had never met a species that showed mercy to defeated enemies. The strong always killed the weak. That was the way of the universe. On the UES Retribution, Commander Turner walked through the corridors of his ship. The battle was over, but he felt no joy. He had seen too many battles and too much death. Victory no longer made him happy. "Commander, the enemy ships have shut down their weapons," reported Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez over the communication system. "What are your orders?" "Prepare boarding parties," Turner said. "I want to talk to their leader." Sergeant Tony Clark was the leader of the ship's small marine unit. He was a tough man who had fought in battles that no one else remembered. Like the rest of Turner's crew, he had secrets he couldn't share. "Sir, boarding party's ready," Tony reported. "Should we expect resistance?" "No," Turner said. "They know. They're beaten, but be careful anyway. These aliens are dangerous, even when they surrender." The boarding parties moved to the damaged Zephyrian ships. They found alien crews that were shocked and defeated. The Zephyrians had never lost a battle before, and they didn't know how to handle defeat. Admiral Kethfer was brought aboard the UES Retribution as a prisoner. He was tall and thin with gray skin and forearms. His uniform was torn and dirty from the battle, but his eyes still burned with hate. "I am Admiral Kethfor of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet," he said proudly. "I demand to be treated according to the laws of war." Commander Turner looked at the alien leader with cold eyes. "What laws of war? You attacked a peaceful exploration ship. You murdered 43 innocent people without warning." "They were inferior beings," Kethfer said. "We have the right to destroy any species we choose. It is the way of the strong." Turner felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "Tell me about your empire. How many worlds have you conquered? How many innocent people have you killed?" Kethfer smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Hundreds of worlds. Billions of beings. We are the masters of this galaxy, and soon we will own everything in it." "Including Earth?" Turner asked. "Especially Earth," Kethfer said. "Your people will make good slaves. Those we don't kill will work in our mines until they die." Turner was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke into his communication device. "Medical Officer Cruz, report to the interrogation room." Dr. Helen Cruz arrived a few minutes later. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but she had seen terrible things in her years with Turner's crew. She carried a medical scanner and other equipment. "Scan him," Turner ordered. "I want to know everything about his species." Helen ran her scanner over the alien prisoner. The results appeared on her small screen, and her face grew pale as she read them. "Commander, this is horrible," Helen said quietly. "His species has been genetically changed. They've removed the parts of their brain that feel pity or kindness. They can't feel sorry for their victims." "What do you mean?" Turner asked. "They've turned themselves into perfect killers," Helen explained. "They have no ability to feel empathy. They can't understand why killing is wrong. To them, murder is just a tool for getting what they want." Turner looked at Admiral Kethfer with new understanding. The alien wasn't evil by choice. His entire species had been changed to make them into weapons. "How long ago did this happen?" Turner asked Helen. "According to the genetic markers, about 3,000 years, Helen said. "This was done to their entire species. Every Zephyrian alive is a genetically programmed killer." Kethfer listened to their conversation without understanding why they seemed upset. "Of course we are killers. That is what makes us strong. Weak species that feel pity always lose to those who don't." Turner realized that there could be no peace with the Zephyrians. They were not just enemies. They were a plague that would destroy every other species in the galaxy if they were not stopped. "How many ships does your empire have?" Turner demanded. "Thousands," Kethfer said proudly. "This fleet was just a scouting force. When we don't return, they will send 100 fleets to find and destroy your pathetic species." Turner felt the weight of the future on his shoulders. Humanity was about to face an enemy that could not be reasoned with, could not be negotiated with, and would never stop killing until every human was dead. "Computer, record everything," Turner said. "Admiral Carter needs to know what's coming." Turner spent the next several hours questioning the Zephyrian prisoners. He learned about their military structure, their technology, and their plans for human space. Every answer made the situation look worse. The Zephyrians had been conquering the galaxy for thousands of years. They had destroyed entire civilizations and enslaved billions of beings. They had never been defeated, and they had never shown mercy. "Commander," said Communications Officer Lisa Park, "we're receiving a message from Admiral Carter's fleet. They'll be here in 2 days." Turner nodded. Admiral Carter was a good officer, but she had never fought aliens before. She would need all the help she could get to prepare humanity for the war that was coming. "Lisa, send a message to Admiral Carter," Turner ordered. "Tell her we have prisoners and information about the enemy. Tell her that humanity is about to face its greatest challenge." As Turner walked back to his bridge, he thought about the terrible knowledge he carried. He knew things about the future that he couldn't share. He knew that in another timeline, humanity had learned about the Zephyrian threat too late. But this time would be different. This time, humanity would be ready. 2 days later, Admiral Lisa Carter arrived with the human fleet. She brought 8 warships and 3,000 brave sailors. But when she saw the wreckage of the Zephyrian fleet floating in space, she realized that the battle was already over. "My God," Lisa whispered as she looked at the destroyed alien ships. What happened here? Captain Steve Moore, her flag captain, was studying the sensor readings. "Admiral, the wreckage shows signs of weapons we've never seen before. The alien ships were cut apart by energy beams more powerful than anything in our fleet." Lisa felt confused and worried. Only one human ship had been in this area, the mysterious UE's Retribution. How could a single vessel destroy an entire alien fleet? "Open communication with the Retribution," Lisa ordered. Commander Turner's face appeared on the main screen. He looked tired and older than Lisa remembered from his personnel files. There was something different about him, something that made her feel uneasy. "Admiral Carter," Turner said with a slight nod. "Welcome to the battlefield." "Commander Turner, I need a full report," Lisa said. "How did you defeat 12 enemy ships with just one vessel?" "The Zephyrians were overconfident," Turner replied. "They expected to fight weak human ships, like the UE's Defiant. They weren't ready for real weapons." Lisa frowned. Turner wasn't answering her question. "Commander, your ship's weapons are not in any human database. Where did you get this technology?" Turner was quiet for a moment. "That's classified, Admiral. I can share tactical information about the enemy, but I can't discuss my ship's capabilities." "Classified by whom?" Lisa demanded. "I'm the ranking officer in this sector. I have clearance for all human military projects." "Not this one," Turner said simply. On the UES Retribution, Dr. Helen Cruz was finishing her examination of the Zephyrian prisoners. She had studied their biology, their genetics, and their psychology. What she found made her feel sick. "Commander Turner," Helen said over the communication system, "you need to see this." Turner walked to the medical bay where Helen was working. She had 3 Zephyrian prisoners on examination tables. They were alive but heavily sedated. "What did you find?" Turner asked. "It's worse than we thought," Helen said, pointing to her computer screen. "These aliens have been changed so much that they're barely the same species they used to be. Look at this brain scan." Turner studied the image. The alien's brain was different from any natural creature he had ever seen. Parts of it had been removed or changed. They cut out the parts that feel fear, love, and compassion, Helen explained. They kept only the parts that feel anger, hate, and the desire to kill. They turned themselves into perfect weapons. How long have they been? Like this? Turner asked. The genetic changes go back at least 3,000 years, Helen said. But Commander, there's something else. Something that proves they can never be trusted. Helen showed Turner another scan. This is a memory implant. Every Zephyrian is programmed from birth to hate all other species. They literally cannot feel friendship or peace toward any non-Zephyrian being. Turner felt a cold chill run down his spine. So negotiation is impossible? Completely impossible, Helen said. They would rather die than live in peace with other species. And if they pretend to make peace, it's only to get close enough to kill you. Meanwhile, Admiral Lisa Carter was boarding the U.E.'s Retribution with a team of her best officers. She wanted answers about this mysterious ship and its crew. "Admiral on deck," announced Sergeant Tony Clark as Lisa entered the bridge. Lisa looked around the bridge with amazement. The technology was unlike anything she had ever seen. The control panels glowed with strange lights, and the computer screens showed information in ways that seemed almost magical. "Commander Turner," Lisa said, "I need to know where this ship came from. The technology here is decades ahead of anything we have." Turner met her eyes steadily. "Admiral, with respect, that information is not important right now. What matters is that humanity is about to face the greatest threat in its history." "Don't change the subject," Lisa said firmly. "This ship has weapons that can destroy entire fleets. If Earth has this technology, why wasn't I told about it?" "Because Earth doesn't have this technology," Turner said quietly. "Not yet." Lisa felt more confused than ever. "What do you mean, not yet?" Turner walked to the main screen and activated a star map. "Admiral, the Zephyrian Empire has been conquering the galaxy for thousands of years. They have destroyed hundreds of civilizations and enslaved billions of beings." "I understand that," Lisa said, "but that doesn't explain your ship." "This fleet we just destroyed was only a scouting force," Turner continued. "When they don't return home, the Empire will send 100 fleets to find and destroy humanity." Lisa felt fear creep into her heart. "How many ships are we talking about?" "Thousands," Turner said. "Maybe tens of thousands. All equipped with weapons designed to destroy planets." "Then we need your technology," Lisa said urgently. "We need to build more ships like the Retribution." Turner shook his head sadly. "It's not that simple, Admiral. The technology on this ship requires resources and manufacturing capabilities that won't exist for years." "What do you mean, won't exist?" Lisa asked. "Either we have the resources or we don't." Turner was quiet for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. "Admiral, this ship comes from a timeline where humanity learned about the Zephyrian threat too late," Turner said. "In that timeline, Earth was destroyed and billions of humans died before we could develop the weapons to fight back." Lisa stared at him in shock. "Are you saying you're from the future?" "Not exactly the future," Turner said. "From a different timeline. A different version of reality where things went very badly for humanity." Lisa's head of science, Dr. Robert Kim, stepped forward. "Commander, that's impossible. Time travel doesn't exist, doesn't it?" Turner asked. "Then how do you explain this ship? How do you explain weapons that can destroy Zephyrian dreadnoughts in seconds?" Lisa felt like her world was spinning out of control. "Even if what you're saying is true, why are you here? Why did you come to our timeline?" "To give humanity a chance," Turner said. "In my timeline, we won the war eventually. But the cost was terrible. Billions died. Entire worlds were destroyed. I came here to make sure that doesn't happen again." Turner activated another control, and the screen showed technical diagrams of weapons and shields. "I'm giving you everything," Turner said. All the technology my people developed to defeat the Zephyrians. Shield designs, weapon blueprints, tactical information. Everything you need to save your timeline. Lisa looked at the information flooding her screen. It would take years to understand and build these technologies. How long do we have? Lisa asked. Maybe a year before the main Zephyrian fleets arrive, Turner said. Maybe less. You need to start building ships and weapons immediately. And what about you? Lisa asked. Will you stay and help us? Turner looked out at the stars with sad eyes. No, Admiral. My job here is done. There are other timelines, other versions of humanity that need help. The war against the Zephyrians is being fought across many realities. Lisa realized that she was meeting a man who had seen more war and death than anyone should ever see. Turner and his crew were fighting an impossible battle across time and space to save every version of humanity. One more question, Lisa said. In your timeline, did humanity win? Turner smiled for the first time since she had met him. Yes, Admiral. We won. And now, so will you. Admiral Lisa Carter spent 3 days studying the technology that Commander Turner had given her. The information was amazing, but also frightening. The weapons and shields were so advanced that it would take years to build them, even with the complete blueprints. Dr. Kim, how long before we can build our first ship with this technology? Lisa asked her science officer. Dr. Robert Kim looked tired from working day and night on the alien data. Admiral, we need to build completely new factories. The materials required don't exist yet. We need to mine rare elements from at least 6 different star systems. How long? Lisa asked again. 2 years minimum, Robert said. Maybe 3, and that's just for one ship. Lisa felt worry grow in her chest. Turner had said the Zephyrians would return in a year, maybe less. Humanity would have to face the alien invasion with their current ships and weapons. What about the shield technology? Lisa asked. That's a little better, Robert said. We can upgrade existing ships with basic versions of the new shields. They won't be as strong as the Retribution's shields, but they'll be better than what we have now. Do it, Lisa ordered. Start with the biggest ships first. On the UE's Retribution, Commander Turner was preparing for departure. His crew was loading supplies and checking their systems. They had done this many times before, in many different timelines. Commander, all systems ready, reported Chief Engineer Katie Price. The dimensional drive is charged and ready for transit. Turner nodded. The dimensional drive was what allowed his ship to travel between different timelines. It was technology that humanity would not develop for decades. Even with the information he was leaving behind. Communications. Officer Lisa Park received a message from Admiral Carter's flagship. Sir, Admiral Carter wants to speak with you one more time before we leave. Put her through, Turner said. Admiral Carter's face appeared on the main screen. Behind her, Turner could see her crew working frantically to understand the new technology. Commander, I have one final request, Lisa said. Stay and help us fight the Zephyrians. With your ship, we could destroy their fleets when they arrive. Turner shook his head sadly. Admiral, there are infinite timelines where this same battle is being fought. In some of them, humanity loses completely. In others, they win, but at terrible cost. My crew and I traveled between worlds, helping each version of humanity prepare for this war. But you could make such a difference here, Lisa said. I already have, Turner replied. The information I've given you is everything you need to win. The rest is up to you and your people. Turner walked to his navigation station where Sam Wells was preparing their next destination. Sam, where are we going next? Timeline designation. Alpha 7743, Sam said. In that reality, the Zephyrians found Earth 6 months ago. Humanity is fighting for survival with primitive weapons. Turner felt the familiar weight of responsibility. There was always another battle, always another version of humanity that needed help. "Admiral Carter," Turner said, "I'm transmitting a final data package now. It contains detailed information about Zephyrian military tactics, their ship designs, and their weaknesses." Lisa watched her screens fill with tactical data. "Commander, this is incredible. How did you learn all this?" "By fighting them for 7 years across dozens of timelines," Turner said. "Every battle taught us something new. Every defeat showed us how to win the next time." Turner's communications officer, Matt Johnson, was monitoring radio traffic from across human space. He could hear the excitement and fear in the voices of people who were just learning about the alien threat. "Sir, I'm picking up transmissions from Earth," Matt reported. "President Walsh is calling for an emergency session of the Colonial Council. They're preparing for war." "Good," Turner said. "They're taking the threat seriously." Admiral Lisa Carter realized that this might be the last time she would speak to the mysterious commander. "Turner, I need to ask you something personal. In your original timeline, what happened to the version of me that existed there?" Turner was quiet for a moment. "You died defending Mars," he said finally. "You and your entire fleet. But your sacrifice gave Earth time to develop the weapons we needed to fight back." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. "And in this timeline?" "In this timeline, you'll live to see humanity's victory," Turner said with confidence. "You'll live to see the day when the Zephyrian Empire is finally defeated." Turner activated the ship's dimensional drive. Strange energies began to build around the UE's retribution. The space around the ship started to shimmer like heat waves. "Commander, before you go," Lisa said urgently, "what's your real name?" "Who? Were you before all this started?" Turner smiled sadly. "I was a lot like you, Admiral. Just a naval officer trying to protect his people. But that man died a long time ago, in a timeline where humanity learned about the Zephyrians too late. The UES retribution began to fade from normal space. Turner and his crew were traveling to another reality, another version of the war against the alien empire. Remember, Admiral, Turner's voice came through the communication system as his ship disappeared. The Zephyrians are strong, but they have one weakness. They cannot understand cooperation. They cannot work together the way humans can. Use that against them. The mysterious warship vanished completely, leaving only empty space and the wreckage of the destroyed Zephyrian fleet. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on her bridge and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, Commander Turner and his crew were helping another version of humanity prepare for war. They were fighting an endless battle across time and space to ensure that in every timeline, humans would have a chance to survive. "Admiral," Dr. Kim called out, "we've received a priority message from Earth. They want to start mass production of the new weapons immediately." "Tell them yes," Lisa said firmly. "Tell them we're going to build the most powerful fleet in the SE galaxy." Lisa looked at the tactical data Turner had given her. It would take time to build the new ships, but humanity would be ready. When the Zephyrians returned, they would find humans who were prepared for war. In the depths of space, the UE's retribution traveled through dimensions toward its next battle. Commander Turner knew that he and his crew would never rest, never stop fighting until every version of humanity was safe from the Zephyrian threat. The Guardian had departed, but his legacy would ensure that this timeline's humanity would survive and prosper. The mysterious warship had appeared when it was needed most, and though it was gone, the hope it brought would never fade. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin, but for the first time in any timeline, humans would enter that war with the knowledge and weapons they needed to win.